Hello there, Runnineers. It's Manny again, and boy, what a weekend. I had a magical time, and as predicted, I said last time that almost every weekend I come back, and wow, that was the most memorable weekend. And guess what? It was such a memorable weekend. I had a magical time. There was a lot of stuff going on. I'm wearing my cap for my very first run, Disneyland 2008, so you can see that after 17 years now, I have crossed 1,000 miles. That was actually pretty cool, but it was secondary to almost everything that happened. We're gonna go over that. We're gonna do the recap, and we're also gonna go over the breaking news, which was Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend has released their theming and their pricing. So we're gonna go over that. But before we do, guys, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. We're gonna get to 2,000. It's just a matter of time. Please share the information because there's so much misinformation out there. So everything that I go over is something that I've researched. If I tell you I don't know, I don't know. I will go ask Disney if needed. Keep asking your questions. Those are so important. You guys don't realize how important those questions are because that's what makes me decide on what videos to do. And I do go and ask runDisney at the expos. I go and I talk to them about it, trying to get some answers for questions. But thank you very much. Hit the notification bell. And so make sure that you do that because there's going to be a lot of breaking news coming up pretty soon. So that way you can stay on top of everything. But let's get right to it. So first off, we had the breaking news of Walt Disney World Marathon theming and pricing that came out. So before we even go over that, let's go ahead and take a look. So when we look at this is actually going to give us some more information, but it reads with races themed to different storybook genres and hosted by the beloved Disney characters, the fan favorite 2026 Walt Disney World Marathon promises to be quite a page turner. Join Mickey, Minnie, and his pals as we step into whimsical Disney stories and even create a few of our own. And no matter what race or races you choose, you're going to have an immersive story. From meet and greets to rarely seen characters on the epic soundtrack. So we're just gonna move on, go real quick because we're gonna go to Pluto. Okay, kick off the race weekend with a stellar 3.1 mile and a sci-fi adventure led by Astropup Pluto. Get ready to blast off. Here goes the next one, the 10K. Dive into the mystery-filled adventure spanning 6.2 miles, guided by super sleuth Chip and trusty friend Dale. These are going to be pretty cool too. So this one's going to be more of an adventure. Here goes the one that I questioned at the beginning, but I like now. Experience an enchanting 13.1 mile half marathon magic with the charm of Lovebirds, Donald, and Daisy Duck. They await you. So this is actually pretty cool. So let's click down to the next one. Embark on the exhilarating journey through 26.2 miles, brimming with the fun and fantasy, all under the enchanting reign of Sir Mickey Mouse and Lady Minnie Mouse. So this one actually looks pretty cool. Very colorful, but we go down to Goofy drinking some water. Laughter is the best medicine, especially after conquering both half marathon and marathon, totaling impressive 39.3 miles. Celebrate your hard work and reveal the triumph of your journey with a bonus medal. So it's always cool. And then of course we have Dopey. Experience the pinnacle of the fairy tale triumph by conquering all 4 Walt Disney World Marathon weekend races, racking up an outstanding total of 48.6 miles and earning 6 dazzling medals and shirts on the way. So this is actually a really cool one. If you read down here, this is when we start registering. So Club Run Disney Gold and Platinum members are March 4th. General registration, the mere mortals, what I call them, March 11th. And so let's go up here because we are going to see if we can take a look at the prices. So here goes. All right. I think I'm gonna have to click on this again. Here is the prices. So the 5K is $119.99. 10K is $166. The half marathon is $240. The full $242. Goofy's Challenge $473. And Dopey is $736 for the 2026 marathon weekend. So these are the prices, and we just got to see the theming. When I first saw the theming, it wasn't as impressive as I thought it was. Somebody pointed out, thank you very much, whoever it was that pointed out, saying, hey, take a look at the stories that we got. So when you get the stories, you understand that it is about stories. And so when I looked at it, the one that I had questions about a little bit more was because we're just basically a month before, or a little over a month before, Valentine's Day, and the Donald and Daisy one. That was the one I had question marks about it, but then I started realizing, and I went through the story, and it was about stories and that one was about love. Just it ended up fitting, and so I understood what it was after that. But just remember, it's almost like you're reading a series of books, and so you have mystery, you have sci-fi, you have suspense, you have thrillers, you have love, romance, whatever you want to call it. So it grew on me, and the more and more I saw it, and so now I'm very, very curious to see what it is. The prices again are going up. They're gonna continue going up. I did actually, somebody pointed out that it was $2 more for the marathon than the half marathon. That to me seems a little weird. I kind of justified it and said, well, it's the same thing. And I said, no, they're going to have people on the course. The courses are going to be closed a little bit longer. So it is a little bit more of a cost. The only thing I can think of is that there might have greater numbers. That's the only thing I can think of. And of course, they're going to have greater numbers at the marathon too, for the simple reason that that's the completion of the Dopey and the Goofy, and then of course for itself. And so when you go to the expo, you're going to see that they might have 10 stalls for the full marathon and 2 for the half marathon. So that means again they sold quite a few more bibs for the marathon than the half marathon. So that's it. Now, before I move on, what are your thoughts? Are you going to sign up for any of them? Are you going to sign up for any challenge? Please comment down below, and let's move on. So now I'm going to recap what happened at the, and it's from my perspective, what happened at the Princess Half Marathon weekend that just happened. And so I'm going to start off the 4 days, the Expo, 5K, 10K, and half. Then I'm going to go over the bad, the good, and the magical, like I usually do. So we're going to go ahead and start with the Expo. So my perspective now is from Club Run Disney, and I'm really, really liking it. And I'm liking it more, and I think this is where it benefits you guys too, is I try to do it as quickly as possible so I can record everything, get it out hopefully by noon that day, so that you guys, when you come in later that day, you know what to expect. But I get to go in a little bit earlier, I get to see stuff, there's not as many people, and this one versus Marathon Weekend was a lot less people. It seemed like there was a lot less people. It was not as crowded, so I got to go in there, I got to record a lot of stuff. It was pretty cool. Then I walked right over to pick up my bib, which again, it hadn't opened yet. So we walked right in, we were able to get our bibs, and then I went over to get the shirts. I was able to get my shirts pretty quickly. I was able to go into the vendor area, record everything, then I left. And not long after I left, friends of mine who were with me at the bib pickup but decided to stop and take pictures were messaging me that they had to go behind the field to get into the line to go and pick up their shirts. And I didn't understand that. I left and then I came back. Then I saw the line. I was going like, wow, this is incredible. So I lucked out. My perspective was pretty easy, pretty good. And you could see that in the video. But what was your perspective? So now we're going to move on to the 5K day, and it was really, really cold. Although it said 40 or 41-ish, it was in the 30s with the wind chill factor. It was really, really cold. I know a lot of people ran with their blankets. I've done that before. I did not do that this time, but it was really, really cold. So I started in my corral, which was the second to the last, and it was packed. And so it seemed to be packed almost the whole time. And the character pictures were super, super long. I think I did one group photo, that was it. We'll talk about group photos in a little bit. But that was my perspective. The 5K was pretty simple and just pretty basic. It wasn't like Disneyland. I was actually going to talk to some of the executives, and then all of a sudden they disappeared, but I was going to ask them what was going on. And people need to realize that Disney World and Disneyland, they run their runs a little bit separate. They run them separately, and so what they do at one, they don't do at the other. So this one, it was untimed, and it stayed untimed. They didn't tell us they were going to get us off the course, or at least I didn't witness that. I didn't hear it. I didn't see it on social media. So it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Again, it's one of my funnest races to do, because you see all the children running it, and they're so excited. And you think to yourself, we still have that kid inside of us. So watching them, I get excited too. It's so much fun to watch them run around going like, I want that, and I look at that, and whatever. Oh, wow, go check out the medal and stuff. That was so super cool. So, all right, so let's move on to the 10K. So now the 10K started off pretty cold too. It wasn't as cold as it was the day before, but it was pretty cold. And this was a race that I had a little bit more invested in, because at the 2.3 mile marker, roughly, so I was looking at my GPS, I passed the 1,000 mile marker. And thank you, the people that reached out to me. Actually, I thank you guys who actually put up a name and put 1,000. Congratulations on your 1,000 mile in their room. I thought that was great. guys, I appreciate so much. Thank you very much. But remember, this is a journey that we're all taking together. So I always say, when I'm crossing 1,000 miles, so are you guys. You're coming with me. You're part of this journey, and so forth and so on. It's not anything that I find incredible on my part, because I can do this. But the journey itself, we carry people on, and that's where I'm piggybacking onto. We witness a lot of stuff in the back that people do not, especially when we start off in the back and when we record and everything. We witness so many things that people will never understand. They might hear about it. They might, it might become rumor, innuendo, whatever, but we get to see it. And this is where we got to see people struggling. And so our Run Disney family grew that day, shortly after, when we picked up some people who were struggling. And by we, I mean there was a lot of us, and so I was just lucky enough to be right next to the person. It was so much fun. I had a blast helping people out. Sometimes it's a little hectic because you do want the people to finish, and I'm going to get to that at the very end. But you do want to see people finish. That's the goal now. When I do these runs, I know I can finish. I know I can do them. But the challenge to me is going to become, hey, let's help people finish. The 10K to me was very special for those reasons there, and more so the fact that you start seeing this camaraderie, this, we're going to help every human do the best as possible. And then what I want people to do is to take that next step in their life and just grow from it. I think it's amazing. Great to witness it. I can keep talking about it, but I'm going to move on to the half marathon. So the half marathon, and I'm going to go back to the 10K real quickly. I actually strained my left calf. By that Saturday afternoon, it was hard to walk on. It was stiffening up. So I went back to my room. I treated it. So I woke up in the morning. It was still tender, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't tender to the touch as it was the day before. So I decided to go, and in my mind, I had two scenarios. One, I was going to start at the end of my corral, which was the second to the last one. And the second one was I was going to start at the very end again. Then I walked up, and this was another highlight of the weekend. David Thompson, the starter of the Dead Last Starters, the guy who started the Dead Last Starters, was doing his final race because of an injury that he had, and he's become a good friend of mine. And those of you who don't understand what Dead Last Start started off as and continues going on as, is that they believe, and I agree with them, you can start from wherever it doesn't matter where you start. It depends on what you have inside of you. You can make the most out of it, and you can finish no matter where you start, as long as you put in the training and you believe in yourself. And of course, you're going to have some course encouragement. So that's there. But so going back, so David Thompson was there. He was in pain and everything. That motivated me enough. I said, you know what, I'm starting with them. And I stayed with them. I stayed a little bit in front just to make sure if my calf tightened up at any time, I could just, I could fall back a little bit, and I still had a little bit of leeway. But I got up to, and then I'm going to go through the race, because again, they were still running, and a lot of those people, they piggyback. We were together, and if you watch the videos, we're together, we're going in, we're taking, this is where it comes to pictures. We were taking group pictures. I took so many group pictures. That's basically what my half marathon was all group pictures, and it was all existing and new friends. And that's the amazing part, is that you don't understand unless you really go through it, that these people become your friends. You're almost like you're tethered. And so it's so much fun. It's so great to be out there encouraging each other, encouraging others. It was great. People who reached out to me saying, man, I overheard you and stuff. Yes, that's what it's about. And so we're gonna go on again a little bit later about that. But as we were getting closer to the finish, I decided, okay, I'm gonna slow down to see David. And of course, David was the last to finish, and it was a very emotional time. Anybody who knows me personally, I am a crybaby. So when David crossed, I actually teared up, and so he's become a personal friend of mine. I love what he has started. I love what he stands for. And I'll go over a little bit of that in a little bit. But it was great. It was fantastic. It was great to be part of a journey. And again, everybody thinks that's why I always say you're part of my journey. So you guys are crossing these miles as I'm crossing them. But I was part of David's journey, and it was a pleasure. It was an honor. And there's so much more that we're going to be able to do over the next few years. So this is not the end, David is coming back. He's going to be doing wheelchair, so he's already reached out to me saying, hey, wonder how I'm going to be able to help you guys out, which means the channel out, by the perspective in the front. So you see what this grows, and it's about everybody. It's about you guys. So again, David is amazing. Thank you, David. We love you. And congratulations on such a great journey. And I'm looking forward to seeing your next journey start. And I'm just so lucky to be part of it, and I continue to be part of it, just in a different way. So I'll go over the bad, and there really wasn't anything bad. I actually I enjoyed myself very, very much. The only things, two things that I could think of is, number one was the weather. The weather was a little bit too cold the first day. Second day we were able to warm up after a while, but it wasn't too bad. The third day I thought was actually pretty perfect. It was pretty good. It started at the 50s. It warmed up, but still my body at least didn't warm up that much, but I wasn't going really, really hard either. So I was fine with that. But again, I know a lot of people complained about the weather, but you know what though? Rather be too cold and warm up than be too hot and try to cool down. And the only other bad thing that happened was my calf, and that was it. Thank you guys, the ones that reached out to me going, how's your calf doing? My calf actually feels fine now. It's still tender. I can still feel it. I know it's there. Probably if I had to go and run right now, I could. It would just be a little tender. I'm actually taking this week off. I'm going to start running again this weekend because I am going to be there at Springtime Surprise, or I plan to be there for Springtime Surprise. But that was the only bad, and that's not too bad compared to what we have had in the past. So now we go to the good before we get to the magical. And there's just really one thing that I thought was good. The course changed to me. A lot of people were affected by it a little bit more. I didn't mind it just because I've done the same course over and over and over. There's one thing that I actually will suggest to Disney in a little bit, but it was just a reverse. The only thing that I would say is that we had less park time, and that's the only thing I wish we had more of is park time. I do understand you guys got to prepare the park and get people in and stuff, but again, park time is really, really important to the runners. That's one of the highlights. That's one of the reasons we do it, coming through Cinderella's Castle. When we used to run back at where Tron was, back where Guardians of the Galaxy is. It's great. World Showcase. World Showcase to me is a must. I mean, that's my memories of Disney, my greatest memories, especially with the marathon we're finishing in World Showcase. It is just an amazing, amazing journey, and you're going around there. It's great. So I thought it was good, but I think that we got to work on to make sure that we do get the maximum amount of park time as possible during the runs. And now this one became very hard because there were so many magical things to do. I wanted to start off the magical things with saying thank you, because it has been 1,000 miles, and that's why I'm wearing this is the first and this is the last, or at least in chronological order. So the journey has been long. It's been different at times. It's been hectic at times, but I have kind of got myself comfortable into where I'm at, and it's been a lot of fun. And the last few years, the journey has grown just because I've gotten to know a lot more of you guys. And to me, it's such a magical thing. So you guys don't understand. Every time I read a comment or I read an email, comment on Instagram, Facebook, email, see you guys in person, whatever it is, it really, really affects me in a really positive way. I really do. And I always say thank you very much, but you don't understand how much I'm thankful for that. Thank you very much. It makes it worthwhile and so forth. And then sometimes I read some stories about inspiration, and you know who you guys are, that you send me inspirational stories, and I tear up, and I really do. I am a crybaby, so I'll sit there and I'll be reading, and I tear up, and I feel like giving everybody a hug and just going like, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. But again, the whole idea and the whole goal is to make sure that you guys are okay, and that's what this channel is about, and it's going to continue growing. So thank you. To me, the most magical thing was you guys. Piggyback on you guys, I'm going to say one of the magical thing was the dead last starters. I know sometimes they get this reputation for not being team players, not being the best or anything like that, and believe what you want to. But when you're back there and you're with them, you understand. And what they do a lot of times is their intention is never in question in my mind. They got big hearts. I actually got to witness, because again, I got to help that young lady out. But every story that gets out, there's 10 stories that don't get out. And there was a lot of the dead last starters that they almost sacrificed themselves. They almost got sacrificed getting swept. I got to see some of them after I had finished, and again I finished right in front of the balloon ladies, and they're holding up people as they're coming by. They are incredible. People don't understand how much how positive they are, how they try to encourage people, how they don't let people fail. They grab onto them and say, no, come on, let's go. And so that's that. And how much money they raise for charities. It is amazing. I am lucky enough to call them my friends, and they are fantastic. But I've got to get to know them not as a group, but individually, and each individual just brings a different piece of the puzzle to the game, and it's incredible. I've seen this group grow. I've seen this group's heart grow. This group is this big, it's pretty big. Their heart is this big, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And as a matter of fact, it looks like we're going to have a couple more people coming to dead last start in the next few races, and anybody is welcome. So just feel free. You're going to be safe. It's going to be a safe zone when it comes to mentally, the mental aspect of the runs. And the last magical thing I want to touch on was David Thompson. He brought something magical to this group that has grown, and it's hard to do that. Hard to do that in any aspect. And a lot of people don't know the name, but David Thompson he's elevated runDisney, in my opinion. And I think that a lot of the runDisney officials who are out there are going to agree, because when you see this camaraderie, he started it. He set the foundation for this. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. It has been a pleasure and an honor to call him not only a co-runner, but a friend. And I'm going to continue doing that. Again, it's just going to be a different version, and that's it. But man, it is great. We need more people like David out there and on the course, and I do believe we have a few more coming. So be prepared to see that. So the last thing I really want to go over was the fact is, when you're back there, you see so many different things. You see so many people that are struggling. Now again, I could at any time take off running. Even with the strained calf, I was able to go. So I could take off whenever I wanted to. And I still can whenever I want to, and finish comfortably in front of the balloon ladies. But that's not always the case. So when you're back there and when you see this and when you're passing people up, it is an eye-opening experience. You see so many different stories being unfolding. And the stories at the time will seem like, some will seem magical, others will seem just like impossible. And you get to see these, and so you get to interact, and so it's a different experience. It's a different perspective of what you see, especially when people write stuff online. So I'm going to bring something out, because I do really think this is the truth. So most people defeat themselves mentally way before they defeat themselves physically. And I get to see it on a regular basis. When they're going, you can already tell that they're defeated here, and they haven't even tried here. And so that is going to be one of my next goals, is to help people more and more and more, because we've already helping people. And by me, by saying we, there's a lot of us out there. There's not just me. There's a lot of us out there. And just to continue moving forward, positive things going on, so that we make sure, and this is going to be my ultimate goal. I hope that in one of these future races, excluding the 5K because it's not time at Disney World, so that we will have 100% of people finish the runs. I want to have it a run where 100%, I know that's asking a lot, because some people on the course might trip and fall and might hurt themselves, or they might get sick and stuff, and so that's that. But still, I'm a dreamer, and I want to cross a course where everybody finish, no matter what happened, whatever it was, and everybody finish within the rules, within the 16-minute per mile pace. So be prepared to see a lot more encouragement on the course, and we're going to try to grow that even more. And the way we grow that more is we multiply. We keep multiplying, and we get people to help and help and help, and we keep going. We're going to help with the training and so forth and so on. So this is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. A situation is not a failure unless you do not grow and learn from it. If you learn and grow from it, it is an experience. Life is about experiences. You have enough experiences, you are going to be successful. So that I firmly believe. So we're going to leave you with that. Next week we have Club Run Disney registration for the Walt Disney World Marathon, and then March 11th we will have the Mere Mortal registration for the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. So next week I'll do another video. I'm gonna wait till after I register so that way I can record as much so you guys can see the merchandise ahead of time, see and prepare, so that way you guys can be prepared when you guys register the following week. Hope to God that everybody who is trying to register gets in. Fingers crossed for that. And before I say goodbye, if you have any questions about what just happened or about registration, please comment down below. Please ask a question down below. Reach out to me on social media. Please feel free to do this, but I'll try to answer every question. This is the one thing about registration. I've been doing it for obviously 17 years, and sometimes somebody asks a question and I go like, didn't think about that. And so this is where you guys come into play, and that's why you guys are very, very important. Comment down below, ask your question down below. But without further ado, I can keep talking over and over and over, and I'm not going to do that. I am going to wish you guys a magical day. So create a magical day, create a magical run, and guys, see you sooner than later.